seconds to actually start, so just waiting for that to happen, and then we're going to get to it. Okay, so I just started recording the session. So I was also doing a transcript, so I'm seeing it come up. So I'm going to turn that off because that's distracting me. Anyway, okay, yeah, so thanks. So welcome everybody. So yeah, today I want to thank Ailsa and also Joe for reaching out to me. So as I understand it, there's some interest in how to make training videos for our information services. So I'm going to basically be giving my take on that and trying to give you as much content as I can. So what I'm going to basically be doing is I'm going to be talking to a PowerPoint, and then and then like I also said, when I've finished my kind of presentation-y PowerPoint part, just open up for Q&A. So yes, I think if you could save your questions until I finish my presentation, that might be a good way to approach this. And let me think what else. So yeah, if anyone, I think everyone is muted by the look of it, which is great. So for everyone, just please make sure you're muted, just so we avoid any background noise. That's going to be great. Okay, so I'm just going to share the PowerPoint now and we'll get into it. Great, okay, let's see. Cool, so it looks like my PowerPoint is sharing now, so you can just let everyone know. And I think Ailsa should be monitoring the chat, so you can pop any questions in there. And when I finish presenting, I can look at the chat too. Okay, so let's look. So creating training videos the easy way. That's the title. And I should have a qualifier there that it's not always so easy. There is work involved. So my aim here is showing you how you can do things, so you can be aware of things, so you don't have to go back and redo them all once you've finished. So that's where the easy way comes from. So I'm going to, oops, hang on, get onto my PowerPoint. Yeah, so this is what I'm planning to deliver today. So we're going to move on to doing introduction. I just want to tell you a bit about myself and a bit about my experience and background. Then I think it's important just to give you some simple teaching strategies, because that can inform a lot of what is to follow. So that's, someone else is in the lobby, just admit them. Yes, so we're going to be doing this. So I'll do an introduction about me. I'll be moving on to just showing you some simple strategies which you can use and should help you if you're going to be creating any training or teaching video content. And then we're going to be looking at where to start, like how do you actually get anything that you want to do off the ground. What's the first place, because that can kind of feel a little bit overwhelming if you're not used to doing training videos and you want to start making some. It's where do you start is one of the big questions. And then probably everyone is interested in the tools and tech that we can use to deliver these videos, how we can record ourselves, roll it out, etc. And and that's number 4 in my structure. And I think I've got more to say about that, but we'll get onto that in due time. And then we're going to talk about delivery, which I'll unpack a bit more, about how we deliver the recordings and how we actually get it out to our people, to our users, our clients, our patrons, or however you refer to them. And then I'm going to summarize everything. And I forgot to say number 7, of course, will be questions. So I forgot to put that in as there as point 7. But yeah, point 7 will be just we can have a Q&A, just a bit more of an informal corridor there. Okay, so let's move on. I'll keep an eye on the time. I think we should be fine for time. Okay, so introduction and about me. So I just want to cover this. So you think, who is this Tom guy? How does he know what he's talking about? So as Ailsa said, I'm a knowledge management advisor at the Ministry for the Environment, MFE. So yep, so that's I work with Ailsa, but I'm in the knowledge management team. So before that, I worked in an academic library. So I worked at the Victoria University of Wellington for about 12 years. And that's where I kind of really began making a lot of these training videos for our users, like our students, postgrad, undergrad, and staff members there. That was really my got a bulk of library experience there. So I do have a teaching qualification. I left Vic to become a secondary English and drama teacher. So I did the postgrad diploma in teaching, and I ended up going back to libraries. And now I'm in information management, and I'm glad of that. But so I do have some experience, and that was very useful for me, actually, that qualification in my information work too. And I do have a theatre background, and I just mention that because I think that's helped me to some extent, and that's something that probably very few people have. But yeah, so I did a, let me think, yeah. So I've got a bachelor's in English literature and theatre studies, and I've done lots of amateur drama since graduating as well. And I think that's helped me kind of as a teacher, as a trainer, in terms of getting up in front of people. You know, at Vic, I was used to getting up and doing presentations in front of 300, 350 undergraduates or something, and that theatre background really helped me. But I just, that's kind of a little bit peripheral, but I just wanted to mention that. So what videos have I done? So you can see it's up on the slide there. So the main one that sticks out in my memory is when I worked at Vic, there was a team of us subject librarians, so subject librarians, reference librarians, um, and we created a series of videos for a, sorry, I'm actually wrong there. It says a first year legal research paper. It was actually second year. Sorry, I've only just realized that, so that's a mistake. I can amend that before we send the slides out to everybody. But yeah, that they were very well resourced with the university's IT kind of, they're called image services. So we had someone from that image services team working with us to make them look super slick. They were really well resourced. It was a really big project. And so we had a series of, I'm going to say maybe about 8 videos. And that was a legal research paper going through all these kinds of different things like secondary and primary sources, how to use a library, discovery system, library catalog, how do you, all these different kind of, citations, trying to think, it was a few years ago now. So that was one end of the spectrum. We had these really intensive, really big projects, really well resourced, a lot of time and support and resourcing put into them. And so that was a really good experience for me. And then on the other end of the spectrum, I've kind of made more ad hoc, just me with what I have at my disposal, making videos for students. So those might be, I noticed that there were lots of questions like, oh, the students are asking me how I use their ebooks or something, so I can just quickly knock up a video. Well, I say quickly, relatively quickly compared to the other projects. How they can use their course reading, something, how they might research their course, their first assignment, which of course would be unique to that particular assignment. So I'd make that video, just for that term or something. Yeah, and then similar to those, so for my job at MFE, we've also, as Ailsa said, got a new ECM. We've just moved on to SharePoint Online. We were on another platform called OpenText. So just in the last month or so, I've made a handful. So far, I've made 5 videos on how to use our new SharePoint Online tool as well. So again, that's kind of just me, working collaboratively, with my colleagues, but just with whatever I have at my disposal. Again, different to that legal research one. Those videos that we produce in that context. But yeah, so I've made videos for that, such as how our users can share things, how they can save things into the system, etc. All the different things that people might need to know. I just made videos really that I was able to post on our intranet, and have at our fingertips, so we can send out to people if they had any questions. Yeah, and what else? Some other resources, like I did a video about how to use the government security classifications, about how people can use our tool for that and what they should be doing, etc. So yeah, and what did I say there? Yeah, so some of these videos included interactive elements. So for that legal research one, they students, because it was part of their assessment as well to a small extent, because we had the faculty buy-in. So with each of those videos, we would have to we built in quizzes, so some kind of assessment as well. And some of the ones I've created for MFE, we've had surveys, such as some of the induction videos. People just have to fill out a little survey at the end just to confirm they've watched it, just for our records, so we can mark that person off as having done it. So yeah, so that's basically my background. So all my background really has come through just learning on the job and just doing it. And yeah, just reiterating, I've kind of done the really high end, lots of resourcing, really months long project, lots of people involved, down to just me kind of turning on my webcam, shooting them, what you might call the quick and dirty, what my previous manager at Vic called the kind of guerrilla. And guerrilla, not as in the animal, but as in Che Guevara kind of guerrilla, just kind of, you get it done yourself with what you have. And yeah, so anyway, that's my background. So now let's go on to part number 2 of this video. So of this presentation, sorry. Oops, gonna admit somebody. So having said all that, so before we start moving on to the kind of the hows and the whys and what you do things, I just want to very quickly go over some simple teaching strategies. So this will be a bit of context. This stuff will pay off later when we talk about our tools and our technology and planning, and all that kind of stuff. So for me, what I've got on this slide now, this is really the bedrock. I'll be talking more about this soon. But for me, with my background, doing that teaching qualification, having some experience being a student teacher, which yeah, I kind of want to say I wouldn't wish that on anyone, but actually it was a really good experience, but it's very confronting, going as a student teacher and teaching a bunch of teenagers, as I'm sure, you can imagine, maybe some of you have done that. But anyway, that was a really good process. So this is just some really good foundation stuff that whenever you're doing training, even in information management or a library setting, some of these concepts have served me really well. So let's just go over these kind of quickly, as I said, because they're a really useful foundation. So these are some, I don't want to get into theory too much, but anyway, so these strategies have been very useful to me and they will help you with your delivery. So just before we go further, so let's look at some of these. So a really important one when you're planning to roll out any kind of teaching, and this includes videos or teaching, training, etc., is you have to know what you're going to be delivering. You have to have it very clear in your own mind what you want the audience, the viewer, your user, your patrons to come away with. Yeah. So that's that top bullet point. So you need to be aware of, and in teaching, I guess, pedagogy, or what I was taught, it's called the learning objectives, and you also hear about learning intentions or learning outcomes. So very broadly, I just lump them all together. So that's something that's really important for me when I start making a video. What do I want the users to do? What's my goal for this? And if that's firm in your own mind, then that's going to really help any video that you can deliver. Okay. And feed forward, okay, is the next one on my list. So that's really important. That's just a simple strategy or a bit of theory that I really want to really plug here, because that's really useful for me. So you need to let the audience know where you're taking them. So you might have noticed that in this PowerPoint, I said to you, this is what we're going to do. So you know that we're at number 2 now, and I had those other ones coming after this, because for me, something that really makes me disengage is if I'm watching a video or if I'm at a course or something and the instructor suddenly starts talking about something. I'm like, hang on, why do I need to know this? How does this relate to the course? Because I just want to disengage straight away, because it seems like it's a waste of time. So that's why I call feed forward, like using headers, titles, etc., really useful, because it lets the audience know where you're going. They feel more confident that they're on track. So that's why, for example, my presentations, my videos, I like to layer them so it's very clear each section, where we're going, what we're going to do next, etc. So yeah, I've got some words up on the screen now, which you've probably already been reading. So it's things like, today we're going to look at this, we'll cover this in a moment. Now we'll learn how to do this. Those kinds of sentences or phrases are really useful, along with the headers, sections, etc. And a big one is, which probably I'll come back to just to reiterate, but is pace and timing. So I have a tendency to talk too much, but it's especially when you go doing a video, you've got the chance to lay it out and to really plan a really snappy video. Okay, so and that's a challenge for me as well, is to, whenever I do a take, I'll go and watch that video that I've just recorded and be like, no, I can get that tighter. So you really want things to move along at a good clip, or again, people can disengage, just like I said before, if people don't know where you're going. So pace and timing is a really important one that you just need to be aware of. And high expectations, I think, is another one. So your audience, even though I'm sure we all kind of wonder how some of our users have got this far or why they can't do certain things, but by and large, our audiences are intelligent people, they're clever people. We need to focus on the basics when we're recording videos, training videos for them, but we need to trust in their intelligence, trust that they're going to get it. And that's going to allow us to deliver great content and have a good pace where we can just keep on moving forward. And then the last thing, nice kind of bit of teaching theory or a teaching strategy, is it's teacher-led. So in the video, so you're the expert. Like on here right now, I'm trying to take on the mantle of the expert and the authoritative source. So your video is going to be that authoritative source. So you need to tell them everything. So and that, I just mention that because sometimes there are other options, like you can also, if you're doing slightly different, like maybe face-to-face or a longer session or a big session, you can set up activities where your students or your users or whatever will be working through some activities, and you're just going to be monitoring, just facilitating, just keeping things moving. You're going to be responding to them. But in a video, you are the one who's delivering the content and giving them that content and putting it out there. Okay, so yeah, so you can come back to this PowerPoint when we send it out and look at these, but that's the bedrock of everything I do, is delivering any given video. I want to be thinking of these things. Okay, I need to put my mouse back on that screen so I can move along. Okay, so with that in mind, where do you actually start when you're creating something? So you might want to make a video of training people on a particular system. So where I always start with is planning, so that seems obvious. So for me, the thing that I always start with is I will create a plan. And the best way to start, if you're not used to it, or you're not really confident or experienced, is you need to create a Word document. And that's going to define the learning objective, which I just went over. It's going to list all the elements that are needed. All the elements being, what different things you're going to need. A PowerPoint. You're just going to record yourself, navigating around the system and share that, etc. And most importantly, what you're going to cover. So like I've got the different sections for this presentation. There's something I've all bulleted in a separate document. And yeah, and just listing what you're going to be doing as well. So, are you going to be talking to a PowerPoint at that particular instance in your video? Are you going to be demonstrating a search? Are you going to be navigating through like an ebook or something? So that's all great to have. It's really great for you to have that all documented. And I personally prefer not to work from a script, because I've seen some people I've worked with, they'll have a big PowerPoint and it says, "Hi, welcome to this, today." They write down literally what they're going to say. So I prefer not to. I like kind of having a bit more of a conversational approach or feel to the videos that I record. So with those really slick, well-resourced legal research papers, we recorded them, we made them all look great, and then we actually went in later into a booth and did a voiceover on a mic. So in that context, a script is great. But usually what we'll be doing, I prefer not to have a script. So yeah, and I've just got some example of some things you might consider. So I won't talk to them. I'll just let you read those, just interest of timing. So for me, when you start creating and when you're doing this plan, the key thing for me to say is that you can't overplan. Yeah. So because it gives you a great bit of, for me, when I was a student teacher and learning to teach, if I was really well prepared going into a class, I would have that confidence that I know absolutely what I'm doing, and I'd have that bit of paper just next to me, or just on the front desk, or you have it on one screen or something, and it gives you confidence when you're recording. You know that you're not going to get distracted because you've got it really well laid out. Just wonder, let's see, I'll just give you an example quickly and bring this over. This is the plan, for example, for today. So this is actually relatively simple. You might want to do a table where you've got different columns. So you can have, like, you might have the timing on one column, then the content, and then on the last column, you might have what's needed. So will that be a PowerPoint? Will you be demonstrating your ebook or in your catalog or whatever? That's the kind of thing I would usually use a table. But for this, and the more I've done this, the less I feel I need to plan now, because I know in my head already what I need to do, and that comes with it with a lot of experience. So yeah, so you can see I've got my learning objective up there, and yeah, and then I've got my remember to record the session. So that's an example of my plan. I've got all my things bulleted there, and this is a great reminder for me. And again, this makes me really confident when I'm doing my presentation. So yeah, so plan can be as big as you want. You can't overplan. Okay, so I better keep moving, hadn't I? It's already almost been half an hour. Okay, hang on. Where am I? So yeah, okay, let me think. Let me do a quick recap. So we've covered the teaching strategies, and those are kind of things that can help your plan. You can do a lot of planning, and then you're going to need to actually do the next part, which is probably what a lot of people are interested in, is the tools and the technology. So for me, you might have thought, why didn't I start with this? So for me, what we've talked about so far, the teaching strategies, kind of a little bit of the approach, the planning, all that kind of stuff. That's actually much more important than the tech that you'll use. The technology is just a means to get that stuff out there and to record you. The real content or the real important stuff that you're going to be doing comes from your knowledge and from your preparation and your skills as an information professional, as a librarian or an information management person. However, we do need to use the tools. They're really important. So let's have a look at some now. So you might have limited options. So for me at MFE, I need to use Teams, basically. That's what we have. Okay, so and we'll look at some different options in a second, but any given tool will need to record your voice. We still have some people coming into the lobby. Cool. So any given tool, you'll need to record your voice because you need to talk to deliver the content. Record your screen, so you'll need to record yourself, pointing around, whatever it is that you're demonstrating, that you're training your users on. You'll need somewhere to house your video file, and you'll need to have a link that will take your users there, so you can actually push it out and share it with the rest of your organization. So you might have a second tool, and we'll get into that in a second, that might not necessarily be the tool that you use for recording. And ideally, it's going to allow a small degree of editing. So editing is not essential. You can just do it straight, but it is highly desirable just to make it a bit more professional, where you can cut off any rough edges. Otherwise, you need to nail it 100% perfect in any given take, which is quite hard to do. And yeah, and some tools, like I said before, will allow you to put in some interactivity, such as quizzes, polls, surveys. That's a nice to have. I mean, is really nice to have, but the main thing is having something that will just record you and record your video. Okay. So some tools that I've used. So at MFE, I use MS Teams. So we're on Teams now, and that also has MS Stream. So Stream is also part of the Office 365 suite, and that allows you to store your videos in it. When this recording is finished, I'll have it in Teams. I can download it. Then it's easy just to upload into Stream, and then in Stream I can do some very light, limited editing, and that's where it's going to live, and that's where the link is going to point in Stream. Yep, you can see some more information on the screen now. So Panopto, a lot of universities seem to use Panopto. At Victoria, we use Panopto. I did a quick Google of it. A lot of the New Zealand universities seem to use Panopto. So that's really great as well. You can record all your recording. There's a higher degree of editing available in Panopto, at least there was when I last used it. And it has functionality for those interactive things like quizzes, etc., already in it. So it's a good tool. And again, you just share, and it still houses, I think, in Panopto, and you just get a link in there. So those are the ones I've used. So other tools is, of course, you can do Zoom. You can record Zoom calls. So unfortunately, I tried to test it at MFE, but at MFE, recording of Zoom calls is turned off. I think because we're all really on Teams. And I think if you're a host, you can record your Zoom calls. And I'm not sure about editing. I haven't been able to find out. So Skype, you should be able to, again, we don't use Skype at MFE, so I haven't been able to test this. But you should be able to just click 3 dots and then start recording, and that's what my Google research told me. And I think in Skype, you need to download your recording once it's finished. I think it's stored in Skype for about 30 days. As far as I'm aware, you can't house that recording in Skype or do any editing from there. And then Windows Photo app, which I didn't know. I mean, I think that's just part of probably what a lot of us have. Apparently that has good video editing functionality, but I haven't tested it. And yeah, and there's many more tools online. When I was preparing this, I saw this big list. So just a word to the wise is don't fall into the kind of tech window shopping rabbit hole. That's something we did do when I was working on those legal research ones, is, oh, this tool does that. That'd be great. Let's get that. Oh, what about this one? Maybe that might have some good interactivity. Maybe we should do that. It's like, no, that I could say that's a bit of a waste of time. You need to decide what you want to do. You want to plan it, and then it's whichever tool enables you to bring that out, instead of you trying to plan your content around any particular tool. I'd say that's putting the cart before the horse. So put the horse first, which is your content and your video and what you want to deliver. And then, yeah, it might, in a way, it's better just to have just to be more restricted. If you're more restricted, you've got less options for the tech. In a way, that's better, because it just forces you to work with that, and you put more energy into actually using what you have, instead of being like, oh, let's use that, or wow, that one looks really great. You might be able to write a business case, and there might be an affordable subscription for your organization to get a new tool, but then you've got to learn to use it and everything. But anyway, that's up to you. Just a word of caution is, don't spend too much time looking at all these great new shiny toys that you can use. And yeah, if you have got Teams and Office 365, I can say that's a really good tool. I know not everyone has that. Okay, sorry. So I just thought people might be a little bit interested in looking at the editing side of it. That might make people a bit nervous. There's a lot of editing a video. That sounds a little bit tricky and a little bit high tech. So I've actually found it's quite easy, fairly intuitive, and the functionality is usually fairly limited, if there is any functionality at all. So basically you can cut bits out, which makes it obviously easier. It's more forgiving. If it's too long, you can chop bits out when you're just kind of rabbiting on, not really saying anything. Or the start, you can chop out the start when you're just getting set up, and you can chop out the ending when you're just finishing, which is really helpful. And that's what you can do on Stream, which is works with Teams. So I'll give you a quick look at that in a second. But You can see on that screenshot on the bottom left, that little icon there, you just click on those two kind of what they look like square brackets, and that allows you just to set the bit that you want to chop. So my top tip is that you can always zoom in on the timeline, it seems, on any given tool, and that allows you to really cut down right to the millisecond. You can see on the screenshot, it looks like we've got 30-second blocks, and you can see where I've highlighted on that bottom right one, you can zoom in. So I might, instead of only being able to kind of look at, say, between 5 minutes 30 seconds and 6 minutes, I can go right down to 5 minutes 31.5, and I can make my cut there. Let me just see. So I've just switched over. So this is Stream, which is part of Office 365. These are some examples of my videos from RC. I've got sharing video, a searching favorites. Anyway, just to give you a quick look, I can go here on the settings. Let's see, trim video is there. So this is on Stream. All I can do is chop from the beginning or the end. On Panopto, you can go anywhere in the middle. So here we go. That's the whole timeline for my video at the bottom. I can click here to kind of chop out. But the most important thing is I zoom right in here, because I know some people that I've worked with in the past have had issues where they haven't been able to get an edit where they want, and they're worried about that. But I found that if I can zoom right in, you can get your edits just where they want. Yeah, so I can just put my cursor there. If I click on that, I can trim out that first bit. I better cancel that. I don't want to edit that all out. And yeah, and usually just to give yourself a few goes, it's usually quite intuitive, and you get the hang of it, but you do need to spend a bit of time playing around with it. Oops. Okay, so that's really all I wanted to say for tools and tech. Again, you can refer back to that PowerPoint. Okay, so I've almost finished now. I'm a tiny bit over time, sorry. So when I think about delivery, like how do we get this out? I think of that in two phases. So one is recording. So when I'm sitting down, I'm actually doing the recording. That's me delivering the content straight into my webcam or into the screen capture. That's one aspect of delivery. And the second one is rolling it out. So just very quickly, so when you record, my recommendation is to have a quiet space where you'll be uninterrupted. You'll need to block out time. You'll probably need to block out multiple blocks of time, because you'll need to do several takes. Okay, you can only do, in general, I've only ever been able to do one take instead of, I'll do that bit here, then I'll record that bit and I'll stitch them together later. That's hard to do, and a lot of the tools that we have, that's not an option as well. So block out several bits of time, okay? And you'll just need to do lots of takes, so be prepared to need to do several takes. And you might need to make changes based on feedback from colleagues. It's good to get feedback, and just don't take that personally. I know sometimes people can get a little bit annoyed. You're like, oh, I've spent all this time making a video. Oh. I'm just missing my former colleague. Philip Worthington has joined there. Hello, Phil.
Hi,
You're
Tom.
late.
I know, sorry. I forgot it was on.
Philip and I worked together at Vic. I think, Phil, you're still at Vic, aren't you?
I am.
Yeah. Well, great to see you. Anyway, sorry, I'm just going to carry on.
Likewise,
yeah, sorry, Phil, would you just mind just muting yourself, so just in case there's any background noise.
Sure.
And we're recording this too, Phil, so you'll be able to watch the rest of the presentation later. Cheers, great to see you. Anyway, so yeah, so I know some people can get a little bit frustrated. I've just spent all this time making a video, and then my colleague or my manager has come back with some changes, but it's just a very natural part of the process. It's very hard for one person to get it right, and then everyone's like, wow, that's perfect. I couldn't suggest any changes. So be prepared to do multiple takes, be prepared to get feedback and go away and redo it. That's just a natural part of the process that happens. Yeah, very quickly, are you going to have yourself recorded? It's nice to have a face, but just bear in mind, you might need to consider camera angles and lighting. When I used to work with Philip Vic, I worked in an office that had a really harsh overhead light, and it would cast these big shadows. So I'd have these big bags under my eyes, really shiny forehead and stuff, and I just looked awful. Looked like I was sick or something. So the lighting can play a big part. So I used to always like having my face recorded to be more friendly and approachable. Now I've kind of gone more to, in a video, I'll usually turn my camera off and just have my voice, because it's a bit simpler, and you don't have, but it's up to you. Just be aware of that. Okay, well, very quickly, I really had better wrap this part up so we can go to the questions. But rolling it out, it's just about sharing the link, and it's just a question of where you're going to promote it. So like I said, you're going to have a place where the video lives. You can need to make sure that in the settings for your video that you can have that link, and you need to make sure the setting is available to all, or link is available to everyone at my organization is usually a standard setting. And then you can decide how you're going to promote it, if it's just going to be sent to one distinct, group of clients or users, or if it's going to be sent out to the whole organization on the intranet. What are your methods of communicating that, etc. It could be just a good thing that you can have this video at your fingertips whenever anyone emails you with a problem. You can be like, instead of typing a big email, you can just go watch this video and you're going to send it out. Okay, so moving on, I think we're on to the summary now, which is my last slide. So yeah, probably a long slide to talk to. But anyway, let's quickly go through the summary. So the summary is make a lesson plan, okay? So make sure you know your learning intentions or learning objectives. So when I was preparing this, when I came time for me to write down my learning objectives, I was like, well, actually, it's kind of hard to crystallize those as a sentence. And that's a really useful exercise to go through. And what I ended up with, share that again. See my learning objective there? I came with audio. I wanted you guys to know the best process for creating videos from start to finish. So that brought home to me, this is about a process. It's not just something you do in isolation, like you just suddenly turn on your camera and boom, you do it. It's actually a whole process of planning, recording, delivery, etc. Cool. So yeah, and identify which tool or tools you're going to use. We talked about that. Usually the ones that you have are the best ones. Yeah, prepare your assets. So your PowerPoint, sometimes you might not need a PowerPoint, you might just need to demo, whatever it is you have. Block out time to record, like we just talked about. Allow yourself multiple takes and reshoots if necessary. It's just part of the process. Yeah, so just when you get your best take, save it and upload it to where it needs to go. You might need to do some light editing, as we discussed, maybe just from the start and the end, and yeah, roll it out to your users, and that's the process. So my golden rules that have allowed me to produce videos that I've been happy with and that other people have given me good feedback for is, like we said before, that feed forward. Okay, let your users know where you're taking them, so it's not a surprise, so they're not wondering, why are we learning this? What do I need to know this for? No, this is not what I thought this was about. Make everything very clear. Keep up the pace, nice and quick, and plan your content in a logical, user-centric order. And that's something I only just thought of before, about earlier today. And by that I mean, if you're a user and you need to say access this ebook or access this particular system, information system, don't start by showing them something that's in the middle or the end of what their user journey, I guess. So start with the basics and think about what are they going to be doing, and then structure it appropriately. Because I've seen that doesn't always happen. People actually surprisingly often seem to not think of that. Have at least 2 screens when you're recording. I've got 2 screens now. When I'm in the office, I've got 3. That's so nice. It makes it so much easier than just having one. Try again. Like I said, lots of takes. Your first few takes are probably going to be, they might not be the best. They might be a bit clunky, not very smooth. They'll get better. Each take that you do will get a lot better. And yeah, and be yourself. Okay, so you're a helpful, knowledgeable, approachable information professional. So you'll know your audience. Maybe your organization, people might like quite a formal tone. They might prefer that. Some places do. Other places like MFE, I think they're more receptive to a more conversational, less formal. Obviously you're still professional, but you'll know that. So but don't be afraid to put a bit of personality into it. And again, doing the multiple takes will just allow you to warm up a little bit and to deliver that, because that's also more engaging for your audience, and people like to feel that they're kind of being welcomed into the video, I think. But we're all different, so try and be yourself, even though that can be hard. When you've got a camera in your face and you know that people will be watching this, just relax. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot more I could say about this, but hopefully that's just given you some starting points and some things to think about. And but anyway, I think it is probably good if we just open this up for questions now. And yeah, so let's do that. Any other questions, or I might
Tom, do you, it's Elsa here, you usually show them to other people, don't you, before your final cut?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, usually I like to make a plan. So yeah, because Elsa's part of my team, with all the videos that I just showed that we made for the new ECM, I kind of like to send them out, just in case I've missed anything. Like I said, if it's very hard for one person to do something immaculate, that's great, because you kind of, you're so familiar with it. Like, but so yeah, so I shared these with Elsa and my other colleagues in the information management team. Yeah, and that's, like I said, people might come back with feedback. Like people might say, wow, Tom, that was a great video, that's so good, but it's made me realize how even better it could be. So can you go and make these changes or do this a little bit? And you're like, oh no, I thought this was done. But anyway, so yeah, so showing to some other people is good. So a few people just have their hand up, but just first, I saw a question in the chat saying how long videos should be. So I'll just quickly answer that. So I'm going to recommend, it depends on the content, but I think really I'd say between 3 and 10 minutes. Depends how much content you have to give over. If it's a lot of content and you keep up the pace and make it engaging, you can get away with a longer video. I think the videos that I've done are between 4 and 6 minutes for this new system. People always say, oh, kids these days, such short attention spans, you can't make anything longer than 3 minutes or a minute and a half or whatever. I don't agree with that. I think, people, like I said, people are intelligent. If there's good engaging content and people will want to know, they will sit and watch a 10 or a 20-minute video as long as it's a good video. Cool. Okay. So Jennifer, did you have a question?
Oh, hi, Thomas. Yes, I did. I just wanted to ask how long it took you to kind of perfect your video technique. Like, how long did you take before you felt like it was a good video, so to speak?
Yes. Well, I was just thinking about this before. When I was thinking about the planning, how I don't plan so much. When I first really started doing a lot of teaching or training, I think in 2013, I would be doing lots and lots of planning. And it's probably only in the last year or so, maybe 18 months, 2 years, that I'm more happy just to go in with a very light plan. So that gives you an idea of how long it's taken me to get confident on the planning side. But I think, trying to remember, maybe Phil will remember when we did some of those training videos when we worked at Vic, because Phil did some too. But yeah, it's probably a few years ago. So
I'm trying to
it's
remember
always
what
a process.
they were, Tom.
I remember you did some for Talis for our course reading system that we had there. You did some there. It was around that time that I started to feel confident, maybe around 2017, 2018. But I think, I still can make it better. So I think it's something that you're always good at doing. Sorry, always learning to get better of is what I meant to say. But I think, yeah, for me, like the steps that I've put on, hopefully by sharing these, that will allow you to avoid some of the mistakes. So if you do that, lots of preparation, it should help everyone who's listening to this get better quicker. So things like, if you really, like I've started doing videos and then you're like, oh, I've left all my windows on my computer open. So I think on the slide about preparation and planning, I've put that, what you need to have open, all that kind of stuff. And that's, you're just being like learning how to make sure you get everything closed. Otherwise, when you're sharing your screen and you're demonstrating the system or whatever, it can look a bit clunky if you suddenly bring up the wrong screen, like, oh no, I didn't mean to do that. And then and then you're like, oh no, that taken is in the rubbish bin already, because it's rubbish doing that. So yeah, it's just a process that keeps on going. But I still think even without much experience, with good planning and a bit of confidence and patience, you can make good videos quite quickly. Cool. Sorry, did I see anyone else with another question?
Hey Tom, yeah, I put a question in the chat, but do you collect like usage views stats? Does your intranet allow that?
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. So let me think. So just go back to those really well-resourced videos that I made at Vic for that legal research one. That I think that had quite involved user statistics. I think it's through that platform Panopto, which I talked about, records that really well. Now let me think. At MFE, there isn't a good way. So when you use Stream, let me just share Stream again.
Yeah, I've just had the issue in the past where, you could do all these videos and smack them on the intranet and stuff, but are they actually being used? Like, are they even worth doing? For some reason, yes, but then I'm like,
Yeah, that's right. Well, I can see how many views I've had for these most recent ones.
Oh,
There's
cool.
only 8. So it's 8 views, but mind you, some of them would have been me going back to look at them. So actually, so you've got to bear that in mind. And even with let's see, another ones I've got, say 180. Yeah, so this particular one here, handling and manage classified information, is one that we will send out to people as induction. And this is one, if I click on it, I think there should be a form. So I've got Microsoft Forms. Oh, so it's about to play here. So I can embed a form. So that's when, if you've got Office 365, so Microsoft Forms is another part of Office 365. So we have this in here. So I can actually embed a form, and people then have to, I'm not sure if they really have to, but they might not know they don't have to. So they fill this out, and then we can export this as a spreadsheet, and this will have all the responses in there. So this form just is to say, you know, have you watched it? Yes. What's your name? You know, they put in their name, and then we can add that to our registry, you know, of people who've been trained. So that's when some interactivity can help for those kinds of analytics. But I think that's always a problem. The best one that I've used before has been, Panopto. And you can use Google Analytics as well. I'm not really an expert. I know Phil's used used to use lots of Google Analytics. Phil, I'm not sure if you still do, but that's another option as well. That's always something to consider, though. Yeah, it's a good point. Cool. Are there any other questions? Was there anything I haven't covered that people were hoping to learn in the session?
Tom, someone's got something up there. Someone's raised a hand, sorry. But
yeah, that's all right.
Question though, Tom, if we've got a couple of minutes, can you just show us a video?
Yeah, sure. Yep, if people would like that.
A little bit of that classified information one. People might be interested in that, but I see someone's got a hand up, so I don't want to.
Yes, that Deb, have you got a question?
Kia ora.
Kia ora.
I guess I'm really enjoying what you're offering, and you know, the tips and tricks and things. And I'm just thinking about that. Sometimes all our vendors already have their own videos, but for our staff to use them, they're going to have to go off, you know, in terms of the web or internet or whatever, they have to go off site, and they're looking at a generic context rather than your specific work context. So do you work with any balance in terms of make your own versus ready-made? Like, do you have an opinion on that?
Yeah, that's a good point too. Yeah, yeah, I know what you're saying. Sometimes it is good to not make work for yourself, I guess. If there's already, say, for example, Microsoft has lots of good training videos for SharePoint, because MFA's just moved to SharePoint. So it's like, oh, we could just point all our users, if they're having any issues, to the existing Microsoft training videos, which is great. It takes a load off our team, you know, frees us up to do other work. We haven't really done that. There is all this great stuff out there. I mean, I think even in our team, we haven't sat down and watched lots of them. So I think that is it's an interesting question. It's nice to tailor things for your particular audience, so they can feel like it's something for them. They can, I just like to kind of, I see these things as well, like, about kind of like it being part of the community of your organization. Like there's someone that they know, that they've worked with in the past, that they trust, who can deliver these videos to them, and you can identify what your particular users might need, and you might have changed things from the out-of-the-box setup in terms of the platform, and you can address that. So yeah, so I guess, yeah, it's about a balance. I guess my opinion is it's good to, I like to make my own ones, I think, just because you can respond to any pain points. Like with our new system, we know what particular things people are having issues with our version of SharePoint that we're using at MFE. We've configured it in a particular way that's probably very MFE. You know, SharePoint might not be like that in other places. So it's good to make some, I suppose, make them where there's demand. I would caution against making them because you think your users or your clients might like them, and instead make them, say, when you're launching a new system, or if you keep on getting questions, because they are time consuming to make. So yeah, so I would just think about that, is make them where you're very confident there will be demand for them. Deb,
I can chip in a bit here. If it, like, I did a mixture for our reading list system at Vic, and so some of them I did myself because I knew what the pain points would be. This is Talus I'm talking about, but the vendor had a number that were absolutely fine. You have to review them carefully to make sure there's nothing in there that's clashes with how you use the system. But that was a pragmatic decision because I didn't have time to make cover the whole range of things we wanted to put in this guide. Yeah, it was a mixture. Ideally, you would, I think, do them all yourself, because there's always subtle little things that are slightly different that can throw people, or you want to use real examples from your organisation. So yeah, ideally, if you have time, I would say do them all yourself. But if you're going to use the vendors, then carefully check them and maybe you do some user experience with them to make sure that they're going to work.
Kia ora both of you for that. I'm thinking, like, instinctively, I prefer the in-house model, like you say, friendly, specific, and also potentially a nice promotional marketing tool in terms of the people that provide the service.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. I agree with that last point. Yeah, I hadn't really thought of it in my answer, but yeah, you're right. You're kind of promoting yourself as well, like you say, or promoting the service, particular to your organisation. It's a nice way to tailor things for your people a bit and get yourself out there. Right. Yeah. Well, I could play a bit of a video now. Then, if anyone is interested, I could let me see. Go back to. Not sure. So I can give you, this is just stream. You can see what stream looks like if you haven't seen it. It's very easy to add something. And if I go my videos, see if I've got something downloaded, I can just drag a file there and I can upload my MP4 there. It will come, and then I've got a little option here. I just click on. I wish I had the ones from Vic, the legal research ones. Oops, sorry, because they're so slick. And then once I'm in here, you have various. I know, where is it? Oh yeah, down here, more actions. Can can't remember where to go. I'll find it in a second, but you can add there's where you can go into the settings and you can really kind of rename it and add a description, all that kind of stuff. View settings, theater mode. Anyway, so I've forgotten where it is for the time being. If I just play this is an example of, I think I just had one slide for the title, and then it was basically me talking and demoing our SharePoint. So our SharePoint system is called Tupuna, not the National Library Tupuna, which is always confusing for us library people. And then we come to work at MFE and it's the Tupuna something else entirely. Sorry, can everyone hear that? The video?
No sound. No.
Right. Okay. So it's not playing. So maybe I can't share it because I think my audio is all coming through my my microphone here instead of through my screen. So I'm sorry. I just realised we probably can't do that. Yeah. And yeah, I can't think of a way to quickly do that now, and we're almost out of time. Okay, look, I think, yeah, there's more things we could go over, but I think I'll just leave it there. So I want to thank everyone so much for coming, and again, thanks to Ailsa and Joe. And yep, I might just fix a couple of typos in the PowerPoint, and I'm going to send it to Joe, and then it will be available, I think, through LIANZA. Joe will hopefully be able to find a way to send that out to everybody. Okay. Thanks very much, Ailsa, or did anyone else want to wrap up?
Well, Tom, thank you so much. I think, Joe, this might have been our really first full online session. Usually we've gone the hybrid model. So I see we've had 24 people today. So that's just great for a start. So thanks, Tom. And I know you're busy, Tom, but could people maybe send you an email if they did have a query or got stuck or anything? Oh, I've lost Tom.
Oh, no, that's right. So I just turned off my camera and muted myself. Yeah, I may be on leave for the rest of the week, Ailsa. Let me think. I'm quite busy, but yeah, I'm just trying. I mean, I would be happy to. I just might be a bit slow in responding to everyone. So I guess that's one option, or the option is, I don't know, be more time efficient to set up another similar session. But yeah, just for the time being, let's say, yeah, you can send an email, sure, yeah, and we'll just see how that goes. And then if I'm not able to cope with that, we'll revisit. But I think it should be fine. So I guess with the follow-up, yeah, we can feel free to put my email in the follow-up, and yeah, I'll do my best to answer any questions, or I might be able to share some videos with people. I should be able to change the settings and share a few of those videos I've made if anyone else would like to see them.
Right, well, thanks everybody for coming, and yeah, and thank you, Tom. Bye now.
Bye, Kakite. See you.
Bye.